Hey, Bernice.
You okay?
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I think we're somewhat ready here. Sorry for the delay there. So, tonight we do have our work session and voting meeting. We'll start with the agenda and then move on from there. Rose, do you mind pulling up the agenda for sharing? Thank you. Okay, this evening we'll have our approval of bills, treasurer's reports, approval of minutes. We do have some student recognition this evening. We'll read off any public comments that we've received via email. Number 10 is our enrollment report, which we are at 1852 for the month. Number 11, these are school calendar changes with graduation. Letter A are the asynchronous early dismissals for yeah, as long yeah. Yes, because we're still utilizing the Google Classrooms. So yeah.
That's just my opinion. I just still notice that it's not on me. There, just with the ALD days, I think that's just, we've had so many. And I just would have hoped that we were in the role by now. I know Google Live, but I think the teachers have had enough time to adapt to that.
I do, but still during the course of the week, there's still additional planning that needs to take place as a result of still utilizing the Google Classroom scenario and virtual streaming with kids still at home. Now, again, looking at next year, we're looking at tweaking a lot and bringing more and more kids back, if not all kids back, to the greatest extent possible, if we can. So that will hopefully minimize any further disruptions at that point. But while we're still in this mode, and we did try to balance it. And looking at other districts, utilizing the similar format, those districts are doing every week early dismissals. So we try to stagger it so it's at least every 2 weeks instead of every week. But so we try to have somewhat of a balance between too much time and not enough. So those are the recommended days. So 3 more for the remainder of the year. Letter B is the in-service day for teachers in the elementary and middle schools. The high school students and high school teachers do need to make up a day that we had to cancel early in the semester. Letter C.
Okay, Matt, I just want to touch base on that as well. I know, so Wednesday will be a full day for every other school.
Correct. Correct.
So they will not have school on Thursday.
Correct.
But they will be in for an hour on Friday.
Correct.
Okay, and so I know I discussed this with you earlier, and for me.
I don't know if your mic's working, Bernice. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it is. Did my mic go out then? No?
Can you hear it?
Back on. Sorry.
And I just feel that, to me, with the teachers that took the day from high school, I just don't think it's fair that we're just throwing it at the end of the year. Nobody, there's no consequence to this. And I know we've discussed it. And I just think it's not fair that the teachers can call in sick because they didn't get their way, go out bowling. It's safe enough to go bowling and drinking, but it's not okay to come to school and teach. And so for me, I just don't think that's a consequence. Nobody's going to be here. Yeah, it's graduation, but I just think, I would have loved to have seen it somewhere where someone's going to pay the price. And I know you say, well, the teachers, some teachers didn't call off sick, and I get that. And that sucks for that whole situation. It was awful. And it was tough that the maintenance was here and the secretaries were here and everybody was here. But somebody has to pay the piper here. And I just don't think throwing it at the end is the right thing to do. And I know we have asked for a different day, but for some reason, it just keeps
the only other day that
down the can.
The only other day that potentially could have worked would have been this past Easter Monday.
And that's the day we asked for.
Correct. But then again,
time and time again.
we also discussed the fact that so it was already a scheduled day off, a vacation day contractually for both the custodians and, well, the secretaries. Whenever school's canceled, they're not in either. So administrators as well. So that would mean that we would make them have to come in on a day that they normally wouldn't have and provide them
Somebody's
with,
going to be unhappy.
well, quite
Somebody.
honestly,
But at this point, I don't think anyone's unhappy because they get a nice day where they don't have to do anything. Students aren't coming.
well, we don't,
And
we
so
can't,
that's just how I feel on it. I really do. And
those are assumptions, and we can't go based on assumptions. We have to plan accordingly. And
everybody knows the last day of school, there's no teaching.
well, this isn't the last day of school. I mean,
Okay.
it's the last week of school.
It's the
but
last day before the last hour of school.
from a managerial standpoint, quite honestly, I think it's unfair and inappropriate to punish the people who did.
I agree with you, but they punished a
were.
lot of people. They punished teachers, those poor students. Like, so there's always somebody who's getting punished. Unfortunately, it's not the right group on this end.
And quite honestly, the people who suffer most are the kids.
Well, if my kids were in that school that day, I wouldn't send them. And that's just how I feel. So listen, again, we're going to agree to disagree, and we can move on to the last day of school, because again, nothing changes. It really doesn't.
When do they
same thing?
When do they have to have their grades in? Is it prior to that day? So
Friday.
That day is the 18th?
Correct.
So are they even going to actually be teaching on that Thursday?
Well, we have, again, seniors definitely will be here for graduation practice. We're going to have finals that the students will still be taking and making up. You know, there's obligations that students have to fulfill at the end of the school year that they'll be doing, like normal routine, like a normal routine day at the end of the school year.
Okay, let's continue there.
The other part of that is if we don't do it, then we're going to have to change graduation, which quite honestly, as we discussed, we didn't want to go into that following week because of seniors leaving for college, going off to work, et cetera.
My point was that I really would have loved to seen it a lot sooner in the year.
I understand.
And so,
that,
yeah, we missed the boat.
It's Jeff Nagolsky. I just got logged in, guys. Sorry, I'm late. I just caught a tail end of it. I agree with Dana and Bernice. I know I already expressed that to you, Matt, that just the learning during the regular school year is much higher than at the tail end. So again, I'm just going to state how I feel that happened a long time ago. We had a lot of opportunity to fill that day prior to the back end. And, you know, I honestly think we could have made it work somehow, some way. If it's the tail end now, it is what it is. But, you know, again, I'm not for how this ended. So that's my take on it.
And again, for the sake of sacrificing the majority of workers who were here and did what they were supposed to do, and those that planned on being here, for, you know, the handful that did call in a sick day that forced us to scramble on Sunday and try to plan accordingly. You know, personally, myself and several administrators busted our tails that Sunday, which we didn't think was fair or appropriate. But again, we have to bite our tongues also. But for the good of the majority of people here, I think it would punish them as well as the students to have to take away from a vacation day. Well, when they could be away with their families and spending time with their families. So looking at all things considered, I felt this was the lesser of two evils. It kept us on a timeline for the end of the school year with graduation.
Now, moving forward, Matt, because something like this is going to happen again. How do we penalize that situation differently than how it's being handled this time. You always have to reflect and say, okay, what can we do better? I mean, is there something in the contract for a sick out? And maybe I'd love to see something in there. And is that legal? I don't know, but there just has to be
Right.
something to prevent something like this.
And there's currently not, and also at the same time, we, unless it becomes an extended absence, us requiring documentation is not
So-
something we can do. And to accuse somebody of calling off sick and not being sick is a great, I understand that, but the next day we can't prove one way or another that they're either not sick or don't have a medical obligation.
Understood.
So
we
how
have to
does
try to-
Honesdale get away with it? Because from what I'm understanding, Honesdale has something in place where only a specific number of people can call off sick on any specific day. So is that in their contract, or are they just threatening blindly and hoping that the teachers will adhere to it, whereas we're not doing something similar?
We have a provision for personal days, but not sick days. So I don't know what Wayne Highlands has in their contract regarding sick time. If they do, I don't know that for sure. But we do have something in there for personal time that we can limit to a certain extent what faculty can be out.
Is there any way to put it into our school year for next year that if something like this happened, almost like a built-in snow day, so that, yeah, it's going to suck, but it's going to be in there. And if something like this happens or there's too many snow days, we have a built-in day, whether it be Easter Monday, Martin Luther King Day. I don't know, something that it's not going to be tacked on at the end of the year, because quite frankly, the end of the year is the day before the last day of school. They're not going to learn anything if they're even going to attend. Because I feel like you're going to have all these teachers come into the school building and you're going to have a handful of students. They're not going to, like, the students are being punished more than the teachers are being punished at that point.
Couldn't the same be said, though, about Easter Monday? Students may or may not attend either because that was a planned vacation time. I mean, just something to consider. I understand everybody wants to react to this, but I think the same goes, who are we punishing? Are you punishing the individuals who earned their vacation and have the right to be off for a handful who may or may not come? And then what happens if teachers were to use a sick day on that makeup day?
The same can be said for the Thursday. You could have the same thing happen again.
Mm-hmm.
The point is, the school had to close. Staff, faculty had to come in, cover, work. It's just like every other job where some people have to come in and cover. And it's unfortunate. Somebody's got to lose somewhere. But when that happens, we're not setting a good precedence by just pushing it back. I mean, that's the other side of this whole thing. So again, the education and loss of education, which I know everybody for the most part probably agrees that's going to happen. And then just setting the precedence of, hey, we're not going to tolerate this, you guys. And if kids didn't show up Easter Monday, we don't know, because it didn't happen. So I would imagine either way, they're probably, and I have no idea, but I would think that there'd be more people coming in that Monday because of still the COVID restrictions than at the tail end of the year. But either way, it's a precedence that's really, in my mind, what needs to be said or needed to be said. But obviously it is too late at this point. So I think we need to move on off this topic and just keep covering the rest of the agenda. I think we've stated what we've stated.
Thanks, Jeff.
Moving on to letter C, we have the last day of school for students and their graduation date. And then Monday, letter D, would be the high school teacher in-service day that they would need to make up to fulfill their contractual obligation. Number 12, we have the real estate transfer tax collector that we're looking to appoint the Wayne County Deputy Realty Tax Collector to serve the district as the real estate transfer tax collector for next school year. Number 13, we have a real estate tax rebate This was through a civil case with the county, where there will be a rebate for this property in tune of $15,700 in Salem Township. And
Matt,
that has been reviewed by our solicitor as well.
was our solicitor part of this lawsuit? Because I mean, this property belongs to the mall out there, Weiss Markets, and so our school district can lose just about $16,000 every year.
Well, again, it goes through the court system, and that is determined. Now that Matt was there, I think Brandon Ellis is on the line, that he can give us a little bit more information. I know he and Matt spoke. Matt wasn't able to be with us tonight. So, Brandon?
Hi. Yep. Hi, everybody. So I actually did not get a chance to talk to Matt about this.
Okay.
And it looks like it's a 2019 rebate is the information I have on it. So I didn't track down the specifics of what was filed in the courthouse yet, but I can do that to see how they got to this number. My understanding is there wasn't anything in front of the judge, though, so that would lead me to believe that there was an agreement reached somehow. But I did note that it's a pretty big rebate, and they've reduced the assessment almost $2 million.
Well, I think now is the time for the district to complain about this, because right now Wayne County is in the middle of a new assessment. And I think, allowing a thriving business to take a $15,700 a year cut every year is just a little excessive.
Can we do that, Rose? Or does this have to be immediate?
I don't think we have a say in what was done because it was done in the county. Like, I don't believe that we have a chance to object that. Brendan, do you know if I'm correct on that or not?
As I sit here right now, I don't know if you have the right to object to it, but I will find out soon enough that you'd be able to do it if you do have the right.
We
We
do
need to
have
find out.
time if we want to table this and revisit it at the May meeting. We can do
I
that
would-
at least, because it's not a time frame of when I have to pay this. It's just that I've been notified by the assessment office to make this payment, this reimbursement.
So, yep, and the date of the notice was March 1st, as far as I can tell. So, again, I don't know which attorneys were involved and how it gets to this rebate and how they reach that number, but I can find out.
So one more question. So if this is an agreement between the parties, is it an actual court order?
I don't know. In these cases, that would be typical. I don't know if this particular case it was an agreement or not. But I called over to the courthouse today, and I don't believe this ended up in front of the judge. That leads me to believe there was some level of agreement somewhere.
I think we would have a big say in this.
Yes.
In the past, I know we've always left it up to the county for their decision on the assessments.
Mhm.
And then we abided by what the county decided. But, that's how we've handled them in the past.
Not tonight.
So we can, we'll table that till, okay. Okay, moving along to number 14, we have our annual agreement with Central Susquehanna Intermediate Unit for next school year. This is our student information system, our employee information system. So it does the scheduling, attendance, transportation, et cetera, for our students. It does payroll, accounts payable, personnel matters, in our employee portal for our staff. That's right around the approximate of what we paid last year. So some of the fees did change a little bit, but overall our total cost is just about the same. Number 15, we have our bid authorization to authorize Rose to award the fuel oil bid to the lowest possible bidder for next school year. Number 16, we have a transportation contract for Debbie Swingle for a run from Dalton to Robert D. Wilson. Number 17, we have a list of substitutes, or one substitute, excuse me, I'm sorry, this is a driver.
Get a bus contract. How
Well,
does that happen?
They file paperwork with the district office, and then as runs become apparent that we need them, you know, we put out who would be available to take a run, and you know, what's the most feasible. Are the kids already going in a given direction? Can we put them on a current run, or do we have to put another van or vehicle on the road, depending on
So
how
is it really hard to get in? Because I know it's kind of a, I hate to say politics, but it is like families kind of really run the show there. How hard is it for
a new driver?
to start it?
I mean, we'd be more than happy to take the information down and have them as an option.
Okay.
But we can't guarantee anything.
No. Okay, I
But,
just was asking. Somebody reached
yeah,
out to
I
me
mean,
and they said they applied last year and never heard anything. So
if they applied to
they're
be,
interested in it.
if they applied to be a driver, that would go through the contractors.
Yeah,
not
no,
a-
they want to start a run.
Okay.
So I just curious.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, you could have them contact the district office, and then we'll get the ball rolling there.
I would hope that would be on a list, and as your name came to the top of that list, you were offered that first instead of just handed off.
We're in the process of revamping a lot of what's going on in transportation. You know, Bob has been working tirelessly, you know, in his new role to, you know, streamline and make things more efficient in many aspects. So we're looking at quite a bit in that regard. And typically we go by what was happening. It was go by availability, and then reaching out to who else may potentially be able to put another run on. Number 18 is a job description. This is a revised job description for department chairs. The last time this was revised was 2007. So we looked at what we would like to see out of department chairs, made a few adjustments to the job description, and put that out as a result. Number 19, we have this is our annual memorandum of understanding with Wayne County District Attorney's Office, as well as the Pennsylvania State Police, so that we can maintain communication and look to them for services throughout the school year. Number 20 is an agreement with St. Joseph Center. We've been utilizing those based upon certain special needs of students who need the services there. That is an update from, we have been working with them for the past several years. 21, same thing with Friendship House. This is a renewal of a contract at the same rate as last year to provide mental health and counseling services for our students throughout the district. 22 is an agreement with the Meadow Psychiatric Center. Again, in the case that we need to send the student for those services at that facility. 23, we have a list of substitutes in letter A. You could see those as listed. We have some guest teachers, custodial, and cafeteria. Letter B, we have some retirements for the end of this school year. We'll discuss that a little bit more in executive session.
Could I make a comment? This is Bill Hershey at this point, Madam President. I can't quite hear. There we go.
Go ahead, Bill.
Bernice, Madam President, I assume we might be doing a block motion later. So
Yes.
I just wanted to mention about these 4 retirees. I would like to say now with regret, I would like the record to show that for all 4 of them. Just a comment, a brief comment, Ms. Nolan and Mrs. McGuicken are, in my opinion, teaching the most challenging grades, which are kindergarten and first grade, respectively. I've known Mrs. Jim Betty for many years. I've heard many positive comments about her from former students and other colleagues she's worked with. And Mrs. Bianchi, I've known Mrs. Bianchi from the first year she taught, and I had the opportunity to work directly with her on the same 6th grade team for 10 years at the middle school. And I just want to say I've never met a teacher who was more dedicated to providing the best for her students than Cindy. So thank you to all 4 for your hard work in making Western Wayne a better place. So thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Yes, thank you very much, Bill. They will be tough to replace for sure on many fronts. So, letter C is an appointment for a custodian. This was as a result of resignation at Evergreen. So that is the recommendation for that position. Letter D is an appointment for a spring coach for softball, junior high. And then letter E, we have fall coaching appointments, football, cheerleading, cross country, soccer, and volleyball, as listed there. Moving down, we have letter F is the list of advisors. That was a separate attachment that was sent to everyone. Those are our annual advisors per contract. Letter G are the appointments for high school and middle school SAP members. Once again, as listed. Letter H, we have extended school year for our special education students that will be accessing that program. And then moving along, letter I, we have a volunteer for softball. And then we have our informational items as listed for April. Again, we already had our holiday break. We have our musical coming up, FBLA conference, PMEA conference, Envirothon, junior information night, and 6th grade chorus concerts. And then our correspondence and reports as listed. And then our upcoming April 21st, we're going to do our budget presentation. Rose will do her presentation, and then we'll go right into the work session. And then on May 5th, we'll have the voting meeting for that work session.
Matt, I just have one question concerning, and just because I wanted some clarification, I know there was some confusion with the softball junior high and Eric Olsemer. Has that been worked out with Mr. Black?
Yes, this was a change actually. So
No, I see that, but I still see Mr. Olsemer receiving nothing. At one time it was discussed that the 4 would put the 3 would combine and then split, but I don't see that.
No.
So I don't know what was discussed.
Mr. Black did meet with them and discuss the layout of that scenario. So this was the result of that conversation.
Okay. A second thing I wanted just to touch base with, our athletic, our kids who are working out with mask on. And I have to tell you, I was at the Mid-Valley track meet and I was irate to see kids, my kid, running the mile with a mask on. I think it is horrific that we are making our kids, our athletes outside run these sports with masks. Can't even run a mile without a mask. So I appreciate, I know Coach Collins and Coach Foote do say, please take it down. But I think a lot of these kids are yelled at all day. Get it up over your nose, get it up. They're scared to put it down. And I hope that our coaches will give some leniency to these students who are outside. Listen, I don't take these judgments lightly. I do my homework. CDC came out with a 23-page report of masks. Okay, all over the news, mask work, mask work, mask work. It's amazing. They're incredible. What do you think they work? Was it 50%, 90%, 20%? Nothing. It was 1.4% that these masks work. And I'm responsible sitting here to make the decisions that these kids wear masks through sports. And I have called PIAA. I am shocked that there are not more parents who have been livid over this. These kids are outside, fresh air, and we are forcing them, get it up over your nose. These kids can't even breathe fresh air. So I'm just saying, I signed all my kids' track. I do not consent to any of the masks while exercising. I think it's horrible. So I am just saying, I hope these coaches show leniency to these kids while they are doing sports. And I hope, listen, I don't know these kids' health records, and I'm forcing them to wear a mask. I don't care if it's a mandate, because federal law does not supersede a mandate. And I'll tell you, I was livid sitting there watching these kids run with masks. And we did a track meet the other night while in Potback. Why are we telling them, please take your mask down wherever you run? Because it takes one kid to have a complete fit with these masks on. There is no reason why these kids should be wearing a mask outside. Listen, I just wanted it out there. Yeah, it's crazy. It's going to take one kid. And so, you know, we're forcing these kids to wear a mask that work 1.4% of the time.
So all I could say, PIAA has,
I get it, but I think parents need to contact. I have contacted PIAA. I have contacted every senator. I have contacted Governor Wolf. And I think more parents need to do that.
And as the Lackawanna League superintendents, we have also reached out to PIAA and PDE and the Department of Health to get specific clarification in language that would allow us certain flexibilities depending on a given situation, like are they running a mile? We have not gotten that yet. So,
But I just, as a I would hope our coaches and track coaches have been good. They have said, taking it down, you know, please. And I hope they don't get in trouble for doing that.
Well, they're also obligated to uphold the mandate, which they're.
But again,
I understand that, but these are people's jobs at stake.
and I understand that. But I'll tell you, federal law does not supersede a mandate. And that has to be justified. These kids have been taught such fear, and they're terrified to take off a mask. But people need to really research and do their own homework.
Yeah, so if it's for a medical purpose, we have to have documentation that, you know, that states there's a medical reason for the student not wearing a mask. Again, I believe there was for swimming, they were allowed to remove them. Right. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. Again, listen, I'm not arguing the sanity of what is out there either, or the legitimacy, because we've had a lot of questions ourselves and try to work through it. But also at the same time, from a league perspective, everybody was trying to be on the same page so that we're consistent and we're not getting into nonsense with, well, we're not playing you now, or you know, whatever may happen as a result. So again, until we get further clarification, which we hope we can, you know, this is where we're at this moment. So.
At basketball games, refs were yelling at the kids to pull their masks up, get them up. That's what I kept hearing, get them up, get them up. So
they were stopping wrestling matches the same way so that the kids could pull their masks up over their face while they were wrestling.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Okay, so I just wanted that to be said and on the record, and I think parents really need to start standing up and doing those calls.
Okay, any other questions on the agenda at this point?
Just the one question on the future meetings. It is the 21st and the 5th, not the 28th and the 5th?
Correct, because last time it was recommended that we give a little bit more of a buffer in between when we had the meeting, the budget meeting, and then the voting meeting.
All right.
So
I thought when I talked to you yesterday, it was the 28th, so that's fine. That's
I
fine.
misspoke. I did
No
say
big
that,
deal.
Joe. I apologize.
No problem. It's all right.
Matt, do you have a problem with just doing the regular meeting right after this and then save the executive, or do we need the executive? Didn't you say there was going to be an executive?
Yeah, I mean, it would be, it's planned on being very brief if that is okay. I mean, I'll be brief. I'll get everybody out of here ASAP. Okay, so what, can we go into the voting meeting and get that started? We'll have our student recognition. Sorry to hold you guys up there, apologize. But we'll get that underway and have the block vote.
Okay, so everyone, we are going to do a block agenda. I did have individual requests that we pull out 11B. Is that the one with the teacher? Yes, so 11B, I'm going to pull out because I had an individual ask about that. Is there anyone on the hiring that needs to be separated? Because usually we do personnel. Is everyone good with all new hires? Gary, you're good? Okay, so everything will be a block vote. We're gonna, I'll say that at the beginning that it is tabled. Okay. Okay.
Madam President, it can be included in the motion.
What's that, Bill?
I said tabling item 13 and withholding item 11B can be stated in the motion as well.
Absolutely, yes. And you're gonna take care of that, Bill?
Sure. And
Thanks,
then
you're the best.
now that means that you want to vote separately on 11B, correct?
I hadn't, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Righto.
Okay, get the meeting call to order and do our pledge and then move along.
So
Is everybody ready? Okay. All right, it is Wednesday, April 7th. I would like to call our meeting to order. If we could please stand for a prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Heavenly Father, I just thank you for this gathering of people, Lord, that we are here to do what is very best for this school district. I pray that you will just continue to give us wisdom to be with our students and our athletes, and to, as we move through the spring into the following graduation, I just pray that you will be with our staff, students, and keep everyone healthy, Lord. And we just thank you and we ask this in your holy name. Amen. If we could do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Ms. Emmett, could we please have roll call?
Mrs. Fiorella,
Here.
Mr. Hoke,
Here.
Mr. Gugolski,
Here.
Mrs. DeCiato,
Here.
Mr. Enslin,
Here.
Mr. Gershi,
here,
Mr. Gambita,
Here.
Mr. Ogden, Mr. Wood,
Excused?
thank you, and Attorney Ellis.
I'm here.
Dr. Barrett,
Here.
Dr. LaRosa,
Here.
Ms. Emmett is here. Madam President, you have 8 board members present.
Thank you, Rose. If we could have a motion for the approval of minutes, please.
I move that we approve the minutes of the board work session held on March 3rd, 2021, as well as the regular board meeting held on March 3rd, 2021.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, that motion was made by Mr. Gershi and then seconded by Mr. Hoke. Any questions or comments on the minutes? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. And any abstaining. That motion does pass. Could I have a motion for the treasurer's report, please?
I move that we accept the treasurer's report for, and I can't read, if we could scroll it up.
Sorry.
Thank you. Okay, the treasurer's report for the general account.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, that motion was made by Mr. Gogolski and then again seconded by Mr. Hoke. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. And any abstaining? That motion does pass. Could I have a motion for 7, the approval of bills, please?
I move for the approval of bills from the general and food service accounts.
I second it.
That motion was made by Mr. Gogolski and then seconded by Mr. Gambita. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed say no. And any abstaining? Okay, that motion does pass. Mr. Gorski, do you want to do student recognition? There you are.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's nice to see everybody live and in person. We have 2 outstanding seniors we'd like to recognize this evening. The first of which is live and in person. His name is Matthew Henneforth. Matthew is the son of Aaron and Catherine Henneforth of Newfoundland.
Thank you. Matt, if you feel comfortable, tonight is your night. Please feel free to take off the mask so we can hear you and get a good, we're just.
Hello and thank you. My name is Matt Henneforth and I'm a senior here at Western Wayne High School. I've been enrolled at Western Wayne since the beginning of time, pre-K, which seems so long ago. Throughout my years here, I've experienced many opportunities and challenges that shaped me into the person I am today. From very tough AP tests that the school gives us the option to take, to after-school sports that helped build friendships, the opportunities here have been endless. Also, I've experienced many successful achievements here, from winning many awards for my sporting activities to taking many AP classes successfully. I was with many clubs, including NHS, FBLA, and Junior Leadership of Northern Poconos. After my life at Western Wayne, I will be attending Penn State University main campus. We are going in undecided. As I continue on with my educational career, I will not forget Western Wayne, what it provided me, and who helped me through the years. Not only did the school help me in the classroom, but it also get me ready to face the challenges of the outside world. I couldn't have done this by myself, so there are many people that I would like to thank. First, I would like to thank both my parents for what they have given me. I would like to thank the Board of Education for providing me with great opportunities and a safe learning environment throughout the years. I would like to thank all my coaches and every one of my teachers. And I also would like to thank Mr. Fitz, my guidance counselor, who helped me shape my future each year. There are so many thank yous left that I would like to acknowledge. However, I think I'd be here all night and it is a school night. So again, thank you to everyone. And I'm looking forward for these last few months here at Western Wayne. And once again, we'd like to congratulate Matt, on his athletic and academic accomplishments. The all-division varsity basketball first team just came out recently. He was outstanding on the court. Looking forward to a fantastic volleyball season also. Congratulations to his parents as well. They've done a tremendous job. And obviously, we're super proud of you, Matt. So thank you very much.
Matt, Paul, can I just say one thing real quick? I just want to say congratulations. Number one, thank you for coming tonight. It really is just such an honor for us as board members to see our students and just the success that they have, mainly because of your parents, but no, but it's truly, we really appreciate you being here tonight. So thank you. And we wish you the very best and congratulations.
Thank you, Madam President. Additionally, we'd also like to recognize Haley Estes. Haley is the daughter of Friend and Diane Estes of Lake Erie.
Good evening. My name is Haley Estes, the daughter of Friend and Diane Estes of Lake Erie. First off, I would like to thank the Board of Education for providing me with many amazing opportunities throughout my high school career. Especially during these hard and uncertain times, they made sure that we were able to stay in the classroom for almost the entire school year and still allowed us to participate and compete in extracurricular activities. I would like to thank the teachers for going above and beyond to not only ensure that I succeeded academically throughout high school, but to also prepare me for what comes next. I would also like to thank my parents for all the love, support, and lessons they have taught me throughout my life that made me the person I am today. Throughout high school, I've taken many honors and AP classes, including AP Biology, AP Chemistry, AP World History, and AP U.S. Government and Politics. I have participated in numerous extracurricular activities, including marching band, where during my junior year I was flute section leader, cross country, basketball, and both indoor and outdoor track and field, where I am currently one of the team captains. I've also participated in Envirothon, FBLA, and am also a member of NHS. In FBLA, both my junior and senior year, I placed at regionals. During my junior year, I also qualified for states. Western Wayne has given me the opportunities to volunteer, such as at the Steamtown Marathon and at the Wayne County Commissioners Basketball Camp. Through all the advanced classes I've taken and along with my involvement in extracurricular activities, I've learned time management skills. I've also learned that hard work and perseverance does pay off in the end. After high school, I will be attending DeSales University, where I will obtain a bachelor's degree in Homeland Security. This degree will help me fulfill my dreams of one day becoming a federal agent, such as in the FBI, DEA, or Secret Service. At DeSales, I will also be continuing my cross-country and track and field career. Once again, I would just like to thank the Board of Education and all of the Western Wayne staff for providing me with all these amazing opportunities. Thank you.
And in closing, again, I'd like to congratulate Haley. Also, congratulations again to her parents, Friend and Diane Estes of Lake Erie. Every time you see a track and field event, you can see Haley running away from the competition. She's a tremendous athlete. She's tremendous in the classroom. She has aspirations of being a high-ranking officer, and I can promise you in the future that no bad guy is going to be running away from her in the future. So congratulations to her. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. And I just want to say also congratulations, Haley. She really is an incredible young woman. And I think the thing that I love most about being on this board is seeing these students that come through. They're just such a success, not only in school and on the sports, but outside of the school in our community. And it's just so wonderful to see these fine young individuals, and just so proud of who they are and who they represent. So congratulations to Matt and Haley both again. So great. Okay, as we continue, the enrollment report is there. Also, Bill, would you like to go ahead and start with our block agenda?
Sure. Was there any recognition of the
Hold on,
public?
Bill. Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
No rush tonight, Bill.
Can I use this time to?
Oh yeah, and then I want to say one more thing. Do you mind, Dana? Can I do mine real quick? And forgive me, I did have it written down, but I forgot to say just about. I put it on the paper today, and I saw the amazing article of Lexi. It was in the Forest, whatever that paper was. How wonderful Lexi did with the wrestling, and what an incredible write-up on her about the courage that she has. And I think courage in this time and age is so rare. And so really, Dana, you and Louis can be so proud of the young lady that you have raised, and just she's stepping out into something that is just uncomfortable. And she's going to be a true leader, and it's wonderful to see. So I really just wanted to do a shout out to Alexi this evening. Go ahead, Dana.
It was a very nice article.
It definitely was a nice article, and it kind of bridges what I wanted to speak about tonight. I handed out to all the board members that are present today. Bill, I'll have to email you a copy of the one pager that I have, but
Thank you.
basically what it comes down to is Pennsylvania is trying to sanction girls wrestling, and to do so, we need 100 schools within the state of Pennsylvania to say that they recognize the sport as a sanctioned sport within Pennsylvania for a women's team. For Western Wayne to do so, all they would have to have is the board to approve it. Right now, the way our wrestling program is listed, it would run exactly the same way that it is now. Lexi wrestles for the boys team, but it would be considered a girls. She would be recognized for wrestling against girls. It wouldn't be an additional cost. If we did end up getting a girls team, they would be able to practice with the boys still. They would be able to travel with the boys if they needed to. Both of our wrestling coaches, our varsity wrestling coaches, have both agreed to coach both teams if need be, if there is a second team. They're totally on board with it. I'm a little too close to this, but I would like to next month, if we can, get at the board session, one of them, the working session or the board meeting, a proponent from the Sanction PA movement that can explain it a little bit more, because I'm sure people have questions and I know that I'm not going to be able to have all of the answers for them.
Dana, I just want to add one thing. I ran into a couple this weekend. They moved from New Jersey and they were so disappointed that we don't have a girls wrestling team. And so I think it is an upcoming sport. And I think it would be interesting to see what we can do to make it happen.
It's the fastest growing sport in the country right now.
Amazing,
It's
yeah.
amazing. The girls that you see out on that mat, they're literally giving their heart and soul, and they want to be out there. This isn't something that they're being forced to do. Clearly, they want it.
Yeah, that's great. So yeah, so I look forward to seeing that next
I
month.
have a question, Dan. How many girls did we have? Not that it matters because I'm for it, but I'm just curious.
So this year, Lexi was the only one, and she, quite frankly, got a lot of crap.
Sure.
Mostly from girls rather than boys that thought that she was going out for the wrestling team just to hang out with boys. And if you know Lexi, that's not what, like Lexi said, there's so many other ways that I could hang out with boys. I'd really rather not roll around with sweaty boys on a mat, like in a stinky room on top of it. So this is the elementary program. It is growing. I believe, well, this year we didn't have an elementary program, but there were 3 girls on the elementary program. I'm hoping Lexi paves the way and more girls do come out, and it's something for them to do. It's not just a sport. You're teaching them many valuable lessons. Wrestling's just a whole different beast.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Dana, for bringing that to our attention. Bill, do you want to go ahead and we can do the block vote?
Sure. Thank you, Madam President. I move that we do a consent block motion for items 11 through 23, tabling number 13, withholding 11B, and as well adding with regret to item 23B.
I'll second the motion.
That lengthy motion was made by Mr. Gershi. Thank you, Bill, for doing that.
You're
and
welcome.
Then seconded by Mr. Hoke. So just to be clear, we're going to pull out 11B.
Right.
So we will have that then a motion following this one. So thank you. Okay, so we do have a motion on the table for 11 through 23. We are taking out 11B and we will vote on that after this, and we are tabling 13. That motion was made by Mr. Gershi and then seconded by Mr. Hoke. Everybody is clear? We're good? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, say no. Okay, any abstaining? Okay, those motions do pass. Could I please have a motion for 11B, please?
I recommend the Board of Education approve the following changes to the 2021 school year, and to allow the superintendent to change the dates if necessary. Thursday, June 17th is a teacher in service day and a regular school day for only high school students and high school teachers.
I'll second.
That motion was made by Mr. Hope and then seconded by Mrs. Desiato. Sorry, Dana. Are there any questions or comments on that?
I have a question. What exactly are we voting for here? Why is it being pulled out?
The reason it was being pulled out is I had a couple individuals ask for it to be removed because they didn't want to do the block vote and yes vote. So we have a number of people who wanted to vote no on that.
I understand that part.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay, so we're voting for the last day of school, right? It's going to be a teacher in service day and a regular school day for the high school students. So remember that day the teachers called out sick, we had to cancel? We have to make that day up. So only the high school will be a full day that day.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, do we have another option for anybody for the day that, making up that day, for anybody who wishes to vote no for that?
You get the half days, the 30th or 14th. You got the high school full days, both days, 7th and 17th. Because they're already in session to do.
Matt, I have a question on this. Has this just been a one isolated instance? I mean, we haven't had, I never remember this ever happened before. And it's during a very trying time.
This is the first in my experience and the only since.
Are we good? Good. Okay. Okay, so the motion has been made by Mr. Hope and then seconded by Mrs. Desiato. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no? I'm a no.
No.
So that was 3 no's. Okay. Any abstaining? Okay, that motion does pass. Okay. All right, so the meetings Matt did go over. We have those there for the listing. And can we have a motion for adjournment?
I'll make a motion to adjourn. I'd also like to add to Mr.
teacher.
Gershie's earlier thank you to the 4 retiring teachers for their years of serving here at Western Wayne.
Yeah, thank you, Rick, for that. I agree. Okay, motion is adjourned. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.